The galaxy's most arrogant admirals laughed when a single, battered human ship blinked into their orbit. After all, what could one rust bucket do against 1,000 gleaming warships? The answer came 60 seconds later, and historians still refused to put it into words. The galaxy had gathered to laugh. Around the fortress world of Kethra Prime, 1,000 alien warships glittered like jewels in the black. They weren't assembled for battle, they were assembled for spectacle. Hollow broadcasts beamed across star systems, narrators spinning tales of human irrelevance while the great admirals drank, boasted, and congratulated one another. At the center of it all, the Galactic Council's overseer Drazel leaned back in his ivory throne. His scaled lips curled into a smirk as he gestured toward the viewing window. And there it is, gentlemen. Humanity's last champion. A ripple of laughter passed through the chamber. Outside, a lone ship blinked into existence. Compared to the alien dreadnoughts, it looked like a coffin strapped to thrusters. Its hull was scarred, its paint long stripped by radiation, and one of its sensor masts flickered with irregular sparks. By the stars! Admiral Vecker hissed, mandibles clicking. This is the vessel they send? An antique garbage scow? Correction. Another chimed in. A human antique garbage scow. They must truly be desperate. The laughter grew. But inside that battered coffin, Captain Elias Mercer sat comfortably in a chair too old for regulation and too broken for inspection. He stirred sugar into his mug of coffee with deliberate slowness, as if nothing outside the hull concerned him in the slightest. Are they enjoying themselves? He asked lightly, not looking up. Yes, sir, replied Lieutenant Ramos, his voice half nervous, half amused. Broadcast chatter says we're a comedy act? They're calling us a, what was it? Coffin with delusions. Mercer smiled faintly. Better than a coffin without delusions. The bridge chuckled, though tension still hung in the recycled air. The crew knew their captain. His calmness wasn't arrogance. It was the same calmness a surgeon carried before an operation or a hunter before the strike. Sir? Ramos pressed. They outnumber us 1,000 to 1. Mercer finally looked up, his brown eyes oddly gentle. Lieutenant, never count numbers when humans are involved. Count intentions. And their intention is mockery. That makes them weak already. He sipped his coffee and tapped the console. A channel opened to the alien admirals. The council chamber shimmered into view on the bridge screen, rows of sneering faces, polished uniforms, and ornaments that glittered like carnival prizes. Mercer smiled warmly, almost apologetically. Good evening, esteemed admirals. I trust this broadcast finds you well fed and well amused? Human, Overseer Drazel spat, his voice rich with contempt. You insult us by appearing here in that. You dare present your species' defiance in a rusting relic? Mercer inclined his head politely. Oh, this old thing? She creaks, yes, but she still runs. Much like your council, I suspect. The bridge crew muffled their laughter. The aliens bristled. Admiral Vecker leaned forward. We could end you with a single volley. Your ship wouldn't even leave debris behind. Mercer's tone never shifted. And yet you haven't fired. Strange, isn't it? So many guns, so little certainty. Murmurs rippled through the alien assembly. They weren't used to praise speaking like this, calm, witty, unbothered. Overseer Drazel slammed his clawed hand against the railing. Do not think your word games will save you. Humanity has no fleet left. No allies. No claim to relevance. You are alone, Mercer. Alone, and facing extinction. Mercer's smile thinned, though his voice remained light. Extinction is a funny word. Dinosaurs thought they were doing fine, too, until the sky fell. And yet, look who's studying their bones. One or two admirals paused, uncertain whether this was bravado or warning. Ramos whispered, Sir, they're charging weapons. Mercer didn't flinch. He set his mug down with deliberate care and straightened his jacket. His voice, when it came, was calm enough to chill the air. Admirals, before you waste your fireworks on us, let me ask you one question. Are you certain you understand what this ship is doing here? Drazel sneered. It is here to die. Mercer's eyes sharpened. No. It is here to aim. The bridge fell silent. The human vessel shuddered, then vanished in a pulse of blue light. One heartbeat it was there, next heartbeat gone. Alien admirals blinked. Ha! Vecker barked. It has malfunctioned. Their technology fails again. Or they fled. Another sneered. See how quickly humans scurry when faced with real power? The chamber roared with laughter again, smugness filling the air like cheap perfume. But not all shared it. A grizzled alien elder, Admiral Threx of the Korath, leaned forward with troubled eyes. His voice was low, but it cut through the chamber. No. They did not flee. They blinked. The word hung heavy. Drazel waved dismissively. Semantics. But Threx shook his head slowly. I have studied their wars. Humans do not retreat with a smile. They move with purpose, and every move is a step in a dance only they know. If they blinked to somewhere. Silence spread across the chamber. On the bridge of the human vessel, Mercer reappeared, coffee still steaming beside him. The ship hung quietly at the edge of the alien formation, behind them now, like a shadow they hadn't noticed had grown teeth. Mercer glanced at Ramos. You ever watch a 4th of July show, Lieutenant? Ramos blinked. Sir? Big fireworks, Mercer said softly. Loud, beautiful, distracting. But the real show doesn't start until the last firework falls. That's when the night goes quiet, and everyone realizes what's waiting in the dark. Outside, one alien cruiser shimmered strangely, its hull twisting like glass under pressure. A second later, it collapsed inward with no explosion, no wreckage, just absence. Alien fleets panicked. Orders screamed across comms. Weapons fired at empty space. On the bridge, Mercer smiled faintly. Looks like someone forgot to buckle their seatbelt. The crew chuckled nervously. Outside, chaos bloomed. The first blink had spoken. The Admiral's laughter was faltering. And Captain Elias Mercer, polite to the last, leaned forward in his chair. No, he murmured, voice like a blade under silk. Shall we begin? The alien fleet's laughter had stopped. Where one of their cruisers had floated a moment before, now there was only silence and a strange ripple in space, as though reality itself had shrugged and moved on. Alarms wailed across the alien formations. Admirals barked overlapping commands, panic sharp in their voices. Find them! Lock onto their coordinates! Restore formation, now! Their words collided in chaos. Inside the human vessel, Captain Elias Mercer swirled his coffee gently, watching the spectacle unfold across his view screen. Funny thing, he remarked, voice even. Everyone loves fireworks until one lands in their lap. Lieutenant Ramos's hands hovered over the tactical console. Sir, half their guns are swiveling, but they're firing blind. We're in their blind spot again. Mercer nodded. Like children playing tag in the dark. They're swinging sticks and praying we walk into one. The crew chuckled uneasily. Then the ship blinked again. One heartbeat, it was there, next gone, reappearing above the fortress world, inverted relative to the alien formation. This time 2 battleships buckled as if invisible hands squeezed them shut. They folded inward soundlessly, hulls crumpling into nothing. The alien comms erupted into chaos. Impossible! They cannot breach our shields. This is sorcery! Back in the council chamber, Overseer Drazel's eyes bulged with fury. His claws dug into the railing, shredding grooves through the ivory. Track them! Now! I want firing solutions in every quadrant! But Admiral Threx, the Elder, only shook his head grimly. You are aiming at ghosts. Humans fight as predators do, never head-on, always at the edges, always where you do not expect. You speak as if you admire them. Vecker snarled. I fear them, Threx said simply. On Mercer's bridge, Ramos leaned in. Captain, they're scrambling formations. Looks like they're splitting fleets into quadrants to box us in. Good, Mercer said, setting his mug down. That means they're thinking about us. And if they're thinking about us, they're not thinking about what's coming next. The crew traded looks. Sir? Ramos asked carefully. Are we going to tell them? Mercer's smile was razor-thin. Not yet. Suspense is part of the show. Americans learned that from Hollywood long before we had starships. Keep the audience guessing until the last act. The ship blinked again. This time it reappeared directly in the shadow of a colossal alien dreadnought, its engines so massive they could swallow Mercer's vessel whole. The dreadnought's commander, caught off guard, screamed orders for weapons to fire. Too late. The dreadnought's hull fractured in 3 perfect lines, like glass tapped with a hammer. A heartbeat later, the entire ship folded into absence, vanishing without debris. Gasps echoed across the alien council chamber. Even Drazel faltered, his words drying in his throat. Admiral Vecker, desperate, spat venom. They have hidden weapons, cloaked devices aboard that coffin. No, Threx whispered, voice low and certain. This is no weapon. This is positioning. They are measuring us. Drazel snarled. Measuring for what? Threx's gaze lingered on the single human ship, blinking again, weaving through their fleets like a phantom. For the kill. On the human bridge, Mercer folded his hands, expression calm. His officers worked with steady precision, nerves balanced against their captain's composure. Sir, their fleets are in disarray, Ramos reported. They're firing into each other now. Crossfire everywhere. Mercer gave a single approving nod. Perfect. Nothing spoils an empire's confidence faster than realizing it's shooting itself. A young ensign piped up nervously. Captain, permission to speak freely? Mercer arched a brow. Always, ensign. The ensign swallowed. We're taunting 1,000 ships with just one. Isn't that reckless? Mercer chuckled, low and amused. Reckless is picking a fight with humans in the first place. What we're doing now. This is strategy. Never give the enemy what they expect. Make them think you're smaller than you are, until it's too late. The crew's laughter was subdued but real. Even in the face of impossible odds, Mercer had a way of making fear sound like part of the plan. Outside, alien ships continued to collapse one by one, each blink of the human vessel erasing another piece of their vast formation. Panic surged in alien voices. They're everywhere! No, they're behind us! Shield's useless! What is happening? Mercer sipped his coffee again. Do you hear it? Hear what, sir? Ramos asked. The silence between their screams, Mercer said. That's fear settling in. Once it roots, their fleet is already lost. Inside the council chamber, Overseer Drazel bellowed with rage. Enough of this game! I want that human erased! Fire on the planet itself if you must, flush them out! Overseer! Threx snapped, his calm voice breaking for the first time. If you strike blind, you risk annihilating your own world. Better that than let one insect shame our fleets. But Vecker's voice wavered. What if this is not their fleet at all? What if this is only bait? The words sent a chill through the chamber. Mercer's bridge lights dimmed as the ship prepared its next blink. The hum of engines grew deeper, resonant, almost like a heartbeat. Ramos leaned close. Captain, if they start to realize... Mercer held up a hand, silencing him. They're not ready to realize yet. Let them stew in doubt a little longer. His voice softened, almost too quiet for the crew to hear. Because once they know the truth, there's no turning back. The ship blinked once more. This time, instead of a single alien ship collapsing, a ripple spread across 3 at once. Their hulls shimmered, warped, and then disintegrated like sandcastles under a rising tide. Panic ignited across alien comms. Entire formations scrambled, admirals shouting contradictory orders, fleets colliding in confusion. Mercer leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled. His expression was calm, almost kind, but his eyes burned with something older, sharper. Let them laugh at the coffin, he murmured. They'll understand soon enough what crawled inside. Back in the council chamber, silence spread. Even Drazel had stopped shouting. Admiral Threx's voice was almost a whisper. This is not war. This is preparation. Drazel turned on him, eyes wide. Preparation for what? Threx met his gaze, grim as a funeral bell. For the fleet we cannot see. On the human bridge, Mercer rose slowly, smoothing his jacket. He glanced at the stars on the screen, then at his crew. They're close to breaking, he said quietly. One more act, and the curtain falls. Ramos swallowed hard. Sir, are we ready to show them? Mercer smiled faintly, a predator's smile hidden under charm. Not yet. Suspense, Lieutenant. Suspense. Let them wonder what waits behind the blink. And outside, the alien fleets, once so smug, so certain, now drifted in disarray, their arrogance cracking with every heartbeat. The fireworks had ended. The real show was about to begin. The alien armada no longer looked like a fleet. Once pristine formations had scattered into ragged clusters, their shimmering hulls jittering in panic. Every blink of the human ship redrew the battlefield. Destroyers imploded, cruisers vanished, dreadnoughts folded into nothing. No wreckage. No trace. Just absence. Inside the council chamber, Overseer Drazel trembled with rage, his claws drumming against the railing like a predator locked in a cage. This is mockery, he bellowed. One vessel cannot undo an empire. Yet his admirals would not meet his eyes. The room reeked of fear. Only Admiral Threx, old and solemn, dared speak. His tone was quiet, but it carried like a funeral bell. Overseer, you are blind. This is not their weapon. This is their signal. Signal? Admiral Vecker sneered, though his mandibles twitched with unease. What are they summoning? They have no fleet left. Threx's stare was cold. Then where are the ships they should have lost? Where are the ruins of their worlds? Tell me, Vecker, why has no one ever found humanity's grave? The chamber went silent. On the human bridge, Captain Elias Mercer leaned casually against the arm of his chair, coffee steaming beside him. He looked more like a man waiting for a train than the center of a galactic crisis. Lieutenant Ramos broke the silence. Sir, alien chatter is shifting. They're starting to guess. Good, Mercer said. Let them guess. Suspense is better than truth, Lieutenant. Guessing is fear's apprentice. A young ensign frowned. But if they figure it out. Mercer gave her a gentle smile. Then the show moves to Act 2. The ship blinked again. This time it appeared not near a battleship but directly above the fortress world itself. Vast defense grids turned upward in panic, thousands of cannons locking on. Sir, Ramos warned. Planetary batteries have firing solutions on us. Mercer's tone was still mild. They'll hesitate. Too many civilians watching. No empire destroys its own crowd mid-broadcast. Seconds later, the batteries held fire, just as Mercer predicted. He exhaled as though relieved. See? Pride is predictable. That's what makes it exploitable. Back in the council chamber, Overseer Drazel hissed through his teeth. Why do they not fire? They are right above us. Vecker snapped. Because even their courage has limits. But Threx's eyes narrowed. No. Because they know something we do not. Look closer. The chamber's central screen magnified the human ship. Its hull glowed faintly along strange seams, light pulsing in rhythms too precise for random stress. Not damage, Threx murmured. Coordinates. Drazel scoffed. You're mad. But Threx shook his head slowly. No. I've seen this tactic before. Not theirs, ours. When we map a target for a fleet-wide strike, we mark coordinates in sequence. That vessel is doing the same. The chamber froze. You mean? Becker's voice broke. Yes, Threx said, grim and unblinking. That ship is not firing. It is aiming. On the human bridge, Ramos whispered. Captain, if they've realized. Mercer cut him off softly. Then it's time they understood who they're facing. He tapped the comms. The council chamber flickered into view again, alien admirals' faces twisted in fear, anger, denial. Mercer greeted them with his usual calm smile. Gentlemen. Ladies. Overlords. I wanted to thank you for the hospitality. Your fortress world is truly magnificent. Though I must say, you built it in a terrible spot. Drazel roared. What is your game, human? Mercer tilted his head, polite as a lecturer. Game? Oh no, Overseer. We stopped playing games a long time ago. This, he gestured vaguely at the collapsing fleets. This is rehearsal. The chamber erupted in protests. You dare! Insanity! Bluff! Mercer waited, letting the noise swell before he cut through it with a voice so calm it made silence of the room. You think we came alone? No species walks into the lion's den armed with only a chair. What you see? He tapped the console, the screen flashing with images of destroyed cruisers. Is not destruction. It's alignment. One by one, your ships mark the map for us. You're drawing the outline yourselves. Threx's face strained of color. A kill box. Mercer's smile thinned. Exactly. Panic broke out in the chamber. Some admirals demanded retreat, others screamed for an all-out assault. Drazel tried to restore order, but fear eroded command faster than his voice could rise. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, the human vessel blinked again. Every new position traced an invisible lattice through the stars, a pattern only its crew understood. Alien ships that vanished weren't random targets. They were reference points in a greater design. Lieutenant Ramos's hands trembled over the console. Sir, grid is nearly complete. Good, Mercer said. Keep it steady. Let them believe they still have choices. The ensign swallowed. And when the grid closes? Mercer's eyes darkened, his smile gone now. Then the choices end. Outside, the alien fleets tried one last maneuver. Coordinated wings dove on the human vessel, beams lancing through the void. The ship blinked. Beams tore through empty space. When it reappeared, the human vessel was upside down relative to the alien wings, nose aimed directly at the fortress world. Its hull glowed brighter now, seams burning like constellations. On the council chamber screen, Overseer Drazel finally realized the truth. His voice cracked as he shouted. This is not their weapon. This is their beacon. Mercer inclined his head politely. Congratulations, Overseer. You finally caught up. The chamber erupted again, but his words cut sharper than their noise. You wondered why one ship came, Mercer said evenly. Why we didn't bring fleets, why we let you gather your power in one place. The answer is simple. Why would we bring our fleet here, when it's been waiting here all along? The screen flickered. For a heartbeat, space behind the human ship shimmered. Stars bent, light distorted, as if reality itself was holding its breath. Mercer leaned closer to the calm. His voice was soft, polite, terrifying. Now, Overseer, shall we show you what waits behind the blink? The transmission cut. On the bridge, silence reigned. The hum of the engines deepened, resonant like a choir tuning for its first note. The crew watched Mercer, waiting. Sir? Ramos whispered. Coordinates locked. Grid is closed. Mercer nodded once. Then the curtain rises. Outside, space rippled. Shadows peeled back. And though nothing yet appeared, the alien fleets felt it. The pressure of something vast, ancient, and patient pressing against the veil of normal space. Panic tore through their ranks. Entire wings fled without orders, dreadnoughts breaking formation, admirals screaming across calms. In the council chamber, Overseer Drazel sank back into his throne, scales glistening with sweat. And Admiral Threx, the only one who dared whisper truth, said what the others could not. This was never one ship. This was the signal for the fleet from hell. The battlefield had fallen silent, though debris still burned across the void. Where once hundreds of alien ships filled the expanse, now fragments spun like drifting confetti. The warship that had caused it all, sleek, obsidian, silent, hovered with calm indifference, as though wiping out a fleet were no more than brushing dust from a coat. Admiral Shurok's command bridge trembled under the weight of disbelief. His officers whispered in broken tones, their confidence shattered. That was only one ship. His second-in-command murmured, voice raw. Just one. Shurak didn't answer. He couldn't. His eyes stayed locked on the tactical display, where the human vessel floated like a blade waiting to fall again. Around it, the galaxy seemed suddenly fragile. "Admiral," said a comms officer, pale frills quivering. "Transmission incoming. From the humans." A hiss filled the air, then a voice slid into the bridge, measured, polite, utterly unhurried. "Galactic Coalition Command." This was a warning shot. The crew froze. No threats, no boasts, just a statement wrapped in quiet certainty. The kind of certainty only power beyond comprehension could grant. Shurak's throat tightened. "Respond," he ordered hoarsely. "We will not be intimidated by." Before he could finish, space itself tore open. Not hyperspace. Not any FTL signature their sensors recognized. No jump corridors, no slipstream distortion. It was as though reality had been unzipped. And through that wound came light. Hundreds, no, thousands, of shapes poured through, each glimmering with Earth's insignia. Battlecruisers, carriers, destroyers, hulking behemoths bristling with weapons no database could classify. The Coalition fleet had thought humanity broken, a species that had burned itself into ashes. But the sky now belonged to them. The bridge went silent. Even the alarms seemed muted, drowned by awe. "By the stars," whispered an officer. "That was their vanguard. Just the first blade." The human voice returned, calm as ever. "Your fleets mocked our survival. Your scholars laughed at our history. You believed humanity forgotten. Now, you will remember." A hush gripped the Coalition officers, broken only by the faint sound of Shurak's claws scratching against the armrest. His pride fought with terror, each breath jagged. "They cannot truly mean war," he muttered, as if the words themselves could anchor reality back into reason. But the humans weren't waiting for permission. The first line of their fleet spread in perfect formation. No hesitation. No calm chatter leaked. They moved with the elegance of an orchestra, each vessel in flawless synchronization, as though centuries of exile had been spent rehearsing this moment. "Admiral!" cried the tactical officer. "Their targeting systems are locked on all sectors. They've surrounded us without firing another shot." Shurak's voice cracked. "Impossible. Not with what?" The reply did not come from his officers. It came from the calm channel, the human voice sliding into his words like a knife. The bridge crew stiffened. Somehow, impossibly, the humans had hacked their secure line mid-sentence. The voice continued, light, conversational, almost amused. "Not with a fleet you thought extinct? Not with weapons you claimed were myths? Or perhaps, not with a species you believed incapable of patience?" Shurak felt heat burn under his scales. The humans had heard him. Every word. He forced his voice steady, though it trembled under the weight of unseen eyes. "What is it you want?" There was a pause, long enough for every alien on the bridge to lean forward, waiting for the verdict. Finally, the human answered. "Not surrender. Not tribute. Not apologies. We want the galaxy to understand one truth: humanity is not prey, and Earth was never your graveyard. It was our forge." The word carried through the comms like thunder. Forge. Not ruins. Not ashes. A crucible where something far greater had been hammered into existence. And then the human fleet moved. Weapons powered, but not a single shot fired. Instead, beams of blue light lashed across the void, carving symbols into the darkness itself. Vast emblems, recognizable even to alien eyes, Earth's crest, burning bright in the abyss. A message across the stars, written in light no one could ignore. The display wasn't aggression. It was declaration. "Admiral," whispered his second-in-command, voice breaking. "What do we do? Fight? Flee?" Shurak's pride clawed at him, but his instincts knew the truth. Fighting meant extinction. Fleeing meant disgrace. Either way, the galaxy's balance had already shifted. Humanity had returned, not as beggars or survivors, but as arbiters. On every coalition channel, chatter exploded. Captains demanding orders. governors shrieking for defense, civilian networks broadcasting the sight of the impossible armada. Panic spread faster than any weapon. But amid the chaos, one thing became undeniable: no one was laughing anymore. The human voice returned once more, final and absolute. This is not conquest. This is correction. You dismissed us as legend. Consider this your education. Stand down, or be erased. The transmission cut. Silence fell, heavy and suffocating. For the first time in centuries, the coalition faced something it could neither outnumber nor outplan. Humanity's fleet hung above them like judgment itself, waiting. And in that silence, Admiral Shurok realized the unthinkable truth. They had mocked too soon. The first warship had not been the end of the story. It had been the opening line. The fleet had answered. And the galaxy would never be the same.